That being said, welcome here to Facebook Live, facebook.com/livenowdt. Myself, Dan Tortora, and Mr. Mike Sofka. You can see his fantasy football bust of him in the Fantasy Football Hall of Fame, providing you fantasy Week 10 advice for 2020 in the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Not one of, but the one you should be listening and watching every week. Live Wednesday between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, always with you in the archive on facebook.com/livenowdt, on our page on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, on our group on Facebook, Winning Fantasy Football, and on youtube.com/Wake Up Call DT. Plenty of ways to connect with the show, and we appreciate you whether you're watching it live or you're watching it on the playback. We thank you so much for that. With that being said, Mr. Sofka, welcome into this week of fantasy football. And before I go anywhere else, I know that it means a lot to you and it means a lot to me. Happy Veterans Day.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very happy that we're all here and able to do the things we love to do and able to have the freedoms that we have. And that's what Veterans Day is about. You know, we all have a connectivity indirectly or more, you know, a lot of us directly. A lot of us have had family members or ourselves as servicemen and women in this country. And hats off to you if you served. And you know, if you're serving now, that's a great thing. I always thought that's a wonderful thing for young men and women to take the next step in life. You can always look back. There's not too many people have anything negative later on in their life because of their service. You know, they sacrificed and we're thankful for them. We wouldn't be able to do the things. We wouldn't be able to have the show we have today without our veterans. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you to all the veterans, including my Uncle Carmen, who is still here with us on Earth, my Uncle Pat, who just turned 99, as well as my grandfathers in heaven, Ralph and Tommy, Pop Cavino and Pop Miller, as I called them, as well as my great-uncle Bucky, whose name was Frank, but they called him Bucky. My great-uncle Vincent, want to send you my love as well, and to all my family, you know, that's here on this earth doing great things in and out of the military, just trying to make the world a better place, and to all of you that are doing the same, and to everybody who is currently serving, you know, the forgotten heroes, because there's no major world war going on, thank God, and because there's no war that they're really talking about, right? The media is talking about ballots and coronavirus and all that stuff, and probably who Kim Kardashian is, what she's doing with Kanye or whatever. So that's what we're hearing, but what we should be seeing, noticing, and appreciating is the fact that there are people that are continuing to fight. There are people that are trying to help. And our military is always all around the world doing something somehow, some way. So if you are listening, if you can see this, if you can hear this, or one of your loved ones does, we love you. We miss you. We hope you get home safe. We appreciate you protecting freedoms from people that will never say thank you. But let me say thank you. Mike said thank you, and we appreciate you so very much. So God bless to you. May your fights, may your fight not be long. May your nights not be crazy. And may your morning always rise with the sun. We look forward to seeing you soon. We thank you so much, and we love you. And we appreciate you. So I proudly salute, thank, and send you all our love. With that being said, Mike, it is Week 10 here in Fantasy Football. Proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. You and I have a lot to unpack and a lot to get into. I'm ecstatic, as always, to do this with you. It's one of my favorite things to do every week. It's one of those things where it's like, set it, and it's always there. Thursday night football. Thursday's a big day for me. It's the 200th straight day of me walking at least 10,000 steps a day. 200 consecutive days, more than half a year that it's been done now. And my day 100 seems like it wasn't that far away, and day 200 is tomorrow. Day 200 will also be the day that the Colts play the Titans. What do you have for Thursday night football as Indianapolis and Tennessee start off our week?
Well, congratulations on your streak there, Dan. That's not an easy thing to do. So hats off to you for your commitment and dedication there. Look, this is a game I'm really looking forward to. The Titans played bad last week. They almost let the Bears beat them. The Bears put 17 points on them in the fourth quarter. It looked like the Bears were going to come back and win that game. But, you know, the Titans do what the Titans do. They figure out a way to win, and that's what they do. Meanwhile, the Colts looked really good against the Ravens, for maybe the first quarter, maybe the first half, and then the Ravens turned it on in the second half and clamped down on the Colts. Phillip Rivers, if you haven't seen the video yet, please go search. He looked like a turtle on his back, flailing with the arms and legs in the air as the pick six was happening, as they were running back the ball. The Baltimore guy runs right over. It was amazing. So I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't, look for Phillip Rivers flailing like a turtle on his back. Look, I like the Colts a little bit, but I'm a realist. I mean, it is what it is. Tennessee's a better team up and down here, and that starts with Ryan Tannehill. He's not having an outstanding fantasy year by any means, but he's helping guide that team to wins. Ranked number 17 on my fantasy football rankings this week. Derrick Henry, number 10. A.J. Brown, number 11. And Corey Davis. We've had some Corey Davis sightings in the recent past here. Not this past week, but in the recent past. So he's making a come on. A.J. Brown, number 11. Corey Davis, number 24. And Jonnu Smith, number 12. On the other side of the ball, these are guys that are good, but you may not necessarily want to play these guys for various reasons. Phillip Rivers, he hasn't been playing well. It's just that's what it is. He's number 22 on the rankings. The backfield is a muddled, mired mess right now. Jonathan Taylor had a slight injury. Jordan Wilkins went in there and performed admirably. And then we saw Nyheim Hines with 2 great scores a couple weeks ago and backflips in the end zone. These guys are all cannibalizing each other in the fantasy world. It's great if you're the head coach to have a 3-headed committee monster. Sometimes it's great to have that lead back, but I know that any one of these 3 guys can play well. Well, it doesn't do good for fantasy owners. I got Jordan Wilkins ranked number 39, Jonathan Taylor 24, and Nyheim Hines ranked 30. T.Y. Hilton ranked 50 because Phillip Rivers can't get him the ball. And Trey Burton, number 17 on the tight end ranking. So I don't think you're starting too many of these Indianapolis Colts. I do think you're playing some of the Tennessee Titans. And I think there's some hidden daily fantasy. If you're in DraftKings or FanDuel or Thrive or what have you, these are some guys you want to target at Tennessee. I got to go with Tennessee at home. I don't know how I can go with the Colts. That being said, watch the Colts pull out the tremendous upset. but I'm gonna go with the Titans.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that you can't go with the Titans in this one. Unless you're a Colts homer, I think that you kind of know what you got to do at this point. Now, Mike and I both told you that Tennessee was going to win this division, but the Indianapolis Colts were going to be the team that pushed them. And that's how it stands right now. The Colts are the team that's behind them. They are the team that's pushing them and trying to positively get some things done, but I think Tennessee creates more separation here, and I think that they get the victory. So I'm going to agree with Mr. Sofka on this road because, it makes perfect sense that that's what we're going to see in this matchup, and the fantasy value does lie on the side of the Tennessee Titans more so than the Colts. T.Y. Hilton has not been T.Y. Hilton that we expected for a long time, and that's because he doesn't have a Peyton Manning in there throwing him the ball, and this isn't the Colts team that you remember. This isn't the Andrew Luck team that you remember either. It's no disrespect to Phillip Rivers and Jacoby Brissett. It's just not the same, and fantasy has felt it. So you can't play anybody there. You can play Jonathan Taylor, but I only put him there as a flex at this point because of this week and this matchup and Tennessee's defense and my faith in them. Trey Burton has been held down here. There's not a lot going on. Jack Doyle probably not going to be out there. It'll be Trey Burton's game, but there's not going to be many points. If you want to have 1 point show up on your fantasy stat sheet for the week, then play the tight end from Indianapolis. Outside of that, Jonathan Taylor's your flex guy. That's it. On the other side of it, I wouldn't trust in Ryan Tannehill fantasy-wise in this game necessarily unless you could play 2 quarterbacks or you got somebody off this week. And this week's bye week features Matt Ryan is off. You probably don't have a Jets or a Cowboys quarterback. If you do, then you're definitely losing. And then Pat Mahomes, he's off. So if you do have Ryan Tannehill and Pat Mahomes, then, it's not a bad week to play him, and I understand it. I just wouldn't expect a lot. I see him as a quarterback, too. Derrick Henry, although he has been underwhelming as of late, I think you got to play him in this game. And A.J. Brown, I would put him out there. Jonnu Smith is a tight end, too, in this matchup. I am going to agree with Mike and also go with Tennessee for Thursday Night Football. The next game that we have up, Mr. Sofka, is the Houston Texans at the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are coming off of a bye week. What are your thoughts on the Browns? Aren't a bad team this year. Do they get it done against the haphazard Texans? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting game simply because these are teams that seem to be going in two different directions. You know, the Texans can't seem to win games, and Cleveland can't seem to lose games, although I have seen them snatch defeat from the jaws of victory several times. You know, it all starts with Baker Mayfield for Cleveland, but I don't think that this is going to be a great matchup for him. I think J.J. Watt's healthy. I think they're going to be able to get after him. And I think if they're going to have any success, they're going to need to run the ball. I got Baker Mayfield 25 on the rankings this week. And I think running the ball is going to be behind Nick Chubb, who's going to be activated this week. They're going to bring him on slowly. I don't know if they're necessarily going to have him on a pitch count. But I think that Kareem Hunt's been filling in admirably, and he's worth more of a play this week than Nick Chubb, just narrowly. I have Kareem Hunt 17 and Nick Chubb 23. Jarvis Landry number 15 on the wide receiver rankings. Rashard Higgins hit or miss, so I can't even rank him right now. And Austin Hooper number 8, coming back from injury. Number 8, I believe he's had an appendectomy last week, so he's been out over a week. Number 8 on the tight end rankings. And going over to Houston, you know, again, I like that pressure that Houston's going to be able to put on Baker Mayfield. They say, oh, Baker Mayfield works best under pressure. Well, that's so, but when that pressure is J.J. Watt at full health, I think that's a problem for most quarterbacks. And speaking of quarterbacks, Houston has one of the best in the game, even though they took away his best piece in DeAndre Hopkins, Nuke Hopkins.
Facebook.com/LiveNowDT. You're also listening on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT to the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Mr. Sofko, we were talking about Washington and the Lions. It was my side of it, so I'll continue the conversation here. Washington, to me, playing up against this Lions team, fantasy-wise, I would lean on the side of Alex Smith. If you have two quarterbacks, you could play two a week. I would put him out there. I love his story. As Mike said, I'm so happy he's back on the field, and it's a beautiful thing to see about facing adversity and knowing that you can do it no matter what anybody tells you. Terry McLaurin's been fantastic. I would have loved to have drafted him. I should have. I did not. Could have got him in I didn't want to draft him high. I think that was the thing, is when people took him, I was like, So, and it was also because it was Washington, and not knowing which one of the three quarterbacks is going to be their quarterback between Alex Smith, Dwayne Haskins, and Kyle Allen. But Terry McLaurin's weathered the storm well. I like him. He is definitely worth the play out there at wide receiver. Antonio Gibson is a flex for you. DeAndre Swift has been fantastic in these last few weeks. He's been really, really good, and I'm happy that I kept him on my roster. So he's definitely worth a play for you for Detroit. Kenny Galladay's questionable. If he's able to play, he's worth putting out there as a wide receiver too. If not, Marvin Jones Jr. adds his value, and T.J. Hockenson has to go out there for you. There's more fantasy value with Detroit than there is for Washington, but I'm going to go with Mike, and I'm going to pick Washington as well. This game, Mike, is one that I think the Jaguars, don't even want to think about. Green Bay on the road in Wisconsin. Jacksonville at Green Bay. What do you have?
Yeah, I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have another excellent game. I mean, how can you not against the Jaguars? I even saw C.J. Henderson get burned by Will Fuller with one step. So he got them all turned around. It was just embarrassing. So I think there's a high probability that Aaron Rodgers has another great game. He had a great game this past week, over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Green Bay's a team that's on fire. And the thing I like most about this Green Bay-Jacksonville matchup is simply that Allen Lazard is probably going to be activated back off the IR. And this is a guy who, I've had the opportunity to personally spend some time with. This is a guy who was on Jacksonville's practice squad, then got picked up by Green Bay, vaulted into the starting lineup, has proved himself as the number 2 receiver in Green Bay. Maybe the single reason why Green Bay didn't take a receiver in this past draft. So it's exciting to see him get back on the field. Aaron Rodgers is going to have an excellent game, like I said, though. Number 4 on the rankings this week. Aaron Jones, number 3. And Jamal Williams should be back now as well. He's the pass-catching guy, number 33 on the rankings. Davante Adams is really the pass-catching guy, though. He's a one-man show. One-man wrecking crew. He's number 1 receiver again this week. Allen Lazard again making his way back. Don't get overexcited. Don't put him in on daily as your number 1 receiver. He's number 54, but you can see he's going to have a pretty decent mark on this game if indeed they activate him for this game. Robert Tonyan, number 16 on the rankings. On Jacksonville's side, there's not as much value across the board. The real value is in their running game. They can run the ball. Much like Green Bay can run the ball, Jacksonville can run the ball. James Robinson, undrafted out of Illinois State, number 5 on the rankings. Gardner Minshew going to be out again. It's going to be Jake Luton, the rookie quarterback at Oregon State. This is a guy who the scouting report said he couldn't run yet. He looked like he could run a little bit in that game. He had a good game for himself. I don't think it was a thing where, you know, he helped his team to victory, but he almost helped his team to victory. He had over 300 yards and a touchdown and a running touchdown as well. This is a guy who seemed to, I don't know, he looked like Gardner Minshew from previous, you know, from last year. So this could be a guy that's auditioning for his job, and this could be the telltale sign of what we see from Gardner Minshew. So is there going to be a true competition? If Jake Luton goes out and plays real well, is there even a competition? So this is going to be interesting for the Jaguars. Again, Gardner Minshew out. Jake Luton, 24 on the rankings. James Robinson, number 5, because he scores. He gets the ball. He runs. He averages over 100 yards a game, and that's what you want in fantasy. You want a guy like that. DJ Chark actually showed up. Second play from scrimmage, 75-yard touchdown pass from Jake Luton, number 27 on the rankings this week. I can't start any other Jag wide receiver, though. The only other one I would consider would be Laviska Shenault, and I think he's still dinged up from last week. Tyler Eifert, I can't count on that cat either, number 25 on the rankings. I'm going to take Green Bay with a large performance by Aaron Jones, Davante Adams, and Aaron Rodgers, the big 3, the Trinity from Cheesetown. I got to go with Green Bay.
Yeah, I got to go with Green Bay as well in this matchup. I don't think it's even close when it comes to point totals that we're going to see at the end of this. I mean, Jacksonville does surprise you. They do some good things, but reality is at the end of the day, I got to lean on the side of Green Bay. But we'll go to Jacksonville first as we're talking about the away team in this fantasy matchup that we have in Week 10. Inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. You can dine in there. You can also curbside pickup, takeout, or delivery by calling 315-487-2222. Jake Luton, strong. Loved it. I love the spin move, right? The hip stick. We got to see that from Madden come into real life. Love that video. Happy that the Jaguars shared it. We got to see it in real time. The whoop! As you would hear from Chris Berman. But awesome move by Jake Luton in it. Great pass, 146 yards to DJ Chark. They say every quarterback has their guy. Well, Chark's working out because Minshew likes him, and so does Luton, it looks like, at least through this first game. Hopefully that continues for DJ Chark as well as DJ Chark fantasy owners. But Jake Luton, I wouldn't play him in this game, but I would. I am proud of what he's doing. I think there'll be some good stuff. James Robinson and DJ Chark have your best value in this game for Jacksonville. On the other side for Green Bay, obviously it's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Jones is ready to play, so you got to put him out there. So I look at Aaron Jones. Davante Adams has been electric. Him and Dalvin Cook have been undoubtedly 2 of the best, if not the best, when it comes to watching some really, really awesome stuff. So fantasy-wise, in these last couple weeks, they've been incredible. Robert Tonyan had a point for me in fantasy this past week. He's playing Jacksonville, so I put him as a high-end tight end too. But the value is in Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers, and also Aaron Jones. I have Green Bay winning the game. The Cheeseheads will move on with the victory. Mike, the next one that we have up on the docket is, oh my gosh, we got to talk about this one again. Philadelphia at the Giants. The Eagles at the Giants. The Giants played Tampa tough and lost at the end, and then they found a way to defeat Washington. What are your thoughts on the Giants? What are your thoughts on Philadelphia? Who's going to come out of this one?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the big thing to watch is Miles Sanders coming back for Philadelphia. You know, I think Boston Scott did a great job filling in for him, but Miles Sanders is really how this team is built. You know, Carson Wentz is going to have a great game as well, thanks to Travis Fulgham. Carson Wentz number 9 on the quarterback rankings this week. Miles Sanders number 8. Boston Scott fills in great, and Miles Sanders is coming back to full strength, and Boston Scott's a distant 63 on the rankings. So, you know, there's guys that people hang on to for too long. You know, move on. Next, Travis Fulgham, number 31. This guy out of nowhere in Old Dominion's having a great year. Number 31 on the wide receiver rankings. Jalen Reagor, number 59. He should be back to full strength, but I think they're easing him back, although he's a rookie. And these rookies, I can't state it enough, haven't had the rookie camp. They haven't had the training camp. They haven't had the experience to get them to a certain level to be prepared to play. So rookies, I'm giving all rookies a pass this year. Wide receivers usually take a couple years to flourish. You know, Randy Moss broke that mold, though, years ago. Dallas Goedert, number 11 on the tight end rankings. And back over for the Giants, there's not a lot I can say. I mean, it's just real simple. This team was almost a mirror to Philadelphia in respect of Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, the team was built around him. He goes out. Wayne Gallman's going to be the guy. They pick up Devonta Freeman. He does well, and then he gets hurt. And Wayne Gallman looks like he's going to be the guy again, but Devonta Freeman's back, so they're going to share the load. It's a mess. Don't start either one of these guys. Wayne Gallman, 38. Devonta Freeman, number 54. Daniel Jones, I can't start him either, number 23. Sterling Shepard, can't start him, number 34. The one guy I can start who's probably going to pick you up a touchdown is Evan Ingram, number 5 on the tight end rankings. I'm going to go with the team with the better athletes on the field, and that's Carson Wentz, and that's Miles Sanders, and that's Dallas Goedert. I'm going with Philly.
Yeah, you know, the Giants surprised me because I thought Washington would figure it out. I didn't think the Giants were going to put together a great week. You know, it's kind of like played up to the competition and then against Tampa Bay, and then I didn't think they were going to do much after that. And obviously, not only did Brady hear footsteps when he played the Giants again, but even though it was a different jersey, still felt that kind of twitching a little bit. And that carried on into the Saints game, it looked like. It looked like that. So the Giants may have not gotten the win, but they definitely may have done something to Tom Brady. Got him thinking about those moments in those Super Bowls that he did not get. So, you know, I look at this game with Philadelphia and the Giants, and listen, I mean, Carson Wentz, you want to say that this is the guy that you should lean on and trust in this, but it's been up and down and around the corner. I do think he's a low-end quarterback one. If you got him, you can play him in this game. He's playing the Giants. Travis Fulgham has definitely stepped it up, and Jalen Reagor's done some nice things. I like Travis as a low-end 2, high-end 3. Reagor as a 3 as far as wide receivers go. And then Dallas Goedert, you know, I would put him out there. I think you should. And I think that, you know, this is a guy with Zach Ertz being injured. It could be the beginning of the end of the era of Zach Ertz on this team. And Dallas Goedert could be taken over. So, you know, I think there's some good stuff to be said about that if you're a fan of DG. But if you're a fan of ZE, you know, could have a little bit of an issue here as we step forward. On the other side of it, Daniel Jones has done some good things, but I don't think you play him in this game. I think that the value lies in Evan Engram and Darius Slayton as a deeper reach at, I would say a flex, but like a deeper reach at flex. So I'm going to go with Philadelphia in this matchup and agree with Mr. Sofka. We're snake eyes on everything. Tampa Bay, Carolina, Mr. Sofka. Tampa got a win barely Monday night over the Giants. Then they got completely wrecked by Tampa Bay, and Jameis Winston got to eat a W. And he got out there to get some ample time at the end of the game to get a victory and show up on the stat sheet against the team that let him go. What are your thoughts on Tampa Bay at Carolina?
Yeah, side note to Jameis Winston, just stop, okay? might get a Super Bowl ring this year with your team that you're on that you're not doing anything with. So, I hope this is a growing and learning experience, but apparently not, because you're hamming, you're getting into the camera in the shot of Drew Brees, who's a Hall of Famer, all-time guy. And I know players clown on each other and stuff, but just stop with the eating a W thing. We're over it. We're past it. You're bringing up old stuff. You want to move on, Jameis. You want to act like you're making a career move and this is better for you as a person. Start acting like a better person. It's real simple. So I know you thought it was funny, and maybe even some of your teammates thought it was funny. I thought it set you back, my friend. I thought it looked ridiculous. Looking ridiculous is what the Bucs did last week, and I'm surprised at the Bucs. But I think they're going to bounce back a little bit here. I think they're going to be able to bounce back behind Tom Brady. Tom Brady couldn't seem to connect with anybody last time. Well, Tom Brady's number 11 on my rankings this week. I think he's going to be able to pick apart the Carolina defense a little bit. Leonard Fournette, number 9. That's right, Leonard Fournette, number 9, and Ronald Jones, number 19 on the rankings this week. Mike Evans seemed to be taking a step back. Don't know if Chris Godwin's going to be back, and is he going to be back to full strength? And Antonio Brown, I think they're going to make more of an effort to get the ball to him. Tom Brady likes this guy. Tom Brady is the reason Antonio Brown is here, so let's make that clear as well. Antonio Brown's the highest-ranked receiver on my rankings this week, number 32. Mike Evans couldn't get out of his own way last week. He's number 41 on the rankings this week, and I don't have a ranking on Chris Godwin yet with that broken finger. I got to see more. The guy I want to see more from, though, is Gronk. Rob Gronkowski, number 4 on the tight end rankings this week. I think Rob Gronkowski is going to have an excellent game again this week. Go ahead and make sure you play him in daily as well. On the other side of the ball, CMC is back. CMC was back last week, and then he exits the game. Well, he doesn't really exit the game. He just came out as the play was over, nursing a shoulder injury. He had a heck of a game last week. He was all over the field. Number 7, I'm confident he's going to take the field again this week. Number 7 on the running back rankings, Mike Davis. Don't forget about him. And if somebody got off him and said, oh, I'm fine, I'm okay, don't. If you see him on the waiver wire that they dropped him because CMC is back, go pick him up. He's the number 18 running back on my rankings this week. Robbie Anderson, number 9 on the wide receiver rankings. DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel taking a backseat to him for sure. DJ Moore, 28. Curtis Samuel, number 38. I can't start Ian Thomas. I just disappointed in the tight end in Carolina, but I can start possibly, especially if it's a bye week for one of my guys. I definitely can start Teddy Bridgewater, number 13, just outside QB1 status against the porous Buck defense. They gave up a lot of points they shouldn't have last week. The defense in Tampa Bay's regressed. I think this game's a sneaky over pick. I think there's going to be some yardage and some scoring in this game. I think this is going to be an excellent game to watch. I'm excited to watch it, but I got to go with Tampa Bay. Even though it's on the road, I got to go with Tom Brady. I can't see him putting up a stinker last time and then coming out this time and putting up another stinker. I think the Bucs are going to dominate.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucs have been kind of all over the place, and, obviously, they're 6-3 on the season, which is great for them, but 6-2 ahead of them are the Saints, and the Saints have the tiebreaker. The Saints beat them twice. The Saints beat them at the beginning of the season, the first game that Tom Brady had as a Buck, and then the Saints beat them again, 38-3, and it just, they were holding them scoreless for the majority of the game, which was fantastic. How about this? The Saints, who you don't typically know for defense, they held the look at the Bucs. They threw the whole game, right? They threw 38 times. They ran the ball 5 times. Blaine Gabbert ran the ball once for -1 yards in a Blaine sighting. Leonard Fournette had 1 carry for 0 yards. And Ronald Jones had 3 carries for 9 yards. Tampa Bay ended their rushing day, 5 carries, 8 yards, 1.6 yards a carry. Absolutely disgusting. Their longest carry was 7 yards, but because they lost yardage, it doesn't even show up on there, really. So, the reality of it, it was a terrible, terrible day for them. Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions. I had him on Monday. I had him going in this game on Sunday night, and I had this hope that Tom Brady was going to get it done. as he had done. He was projected to have 40 points. Tom Brady got me almost nothing. I had him, I had Fournette, I had Gronk, I had Mike Evans. I had high hopes. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers definitely, positively let me down. Hopefully they won't do that again for you this week. Let's get into the matchup that they have on the road at Carolina. Tom Brady, I think, is still worth the play. I don't think he has 2 terrible weeks in a row. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are both playing. I think they're worth the play. Antonio Brown had 3 catches for 31 yards in his return to the NFL. It's been a very long journey of multiple different teams. Went from Pittsburgh to the Raiders, never played for the Raiders, went to the Patriots, then disappeared, and ended up playing now for the Bucs. So a shout-out to Antonio Brown's return. I hope that he is well. I hope that he takes care of himself, he stays safe and stays healthy, and more than anything else, that he's good to himself and that he's good to others. Because I was definitely concerned for him at certain points here in recent history. So happy to see him out there. I think, Tampa Bay against Carolina. Antonio's kind of a sneaky one you could throw out there in a flex, but Mike Evans is the top, then Godwin, and then, you got to play Tom Brady. Leonard Fournette has been all over the place. Jacksonville, even though they're 1-7, are probably sitting there right now laughing a little bit going, thank God we didn't have to deal with paying millions and millions and millions of dollars on a new contract for 1 carry for 0 yards. And James Robinson, the undrafted rookie out of Illinois State, who they got for peanuts, is doing a bang-up job, awesome job for Jacksonville. So that's something to be said about that. On the other side of it, with Teddy Bridgewater, I don't think you can play him in this one. If McCaffrey goes in this one, you got to play McCaffrey. If not, then Mike Davis is the next man up. Hopefully you didn't drop him off your team when CMC came back. Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore more in this game. Ironically, a little play on words. I do like DJ more than Robbie. But DJ, to me, is a low-end 2, high-end 3, Robbie behind that. And the value is, really to me in CMC if he's able to go. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay in this matchup as well, as Mike and I stay equal when it comes to our picks this week as far as who we've leaned on. The next game that we have to talk about, Mr. Sofka, before we take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, that next matchup that we have here inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, as well as available for curbside pickup, takeout, and delivery by calling the number 315-487-2222. The next game that we have up here, Mike, is a game that I'm going to hand off to you, as I always do first, and that game is going to be the Denver Broncos at the Las Vegas Raiders. What do you have?
Yeah, first off, I want to, put something out to the NFL. Why is it some weeks I have 2 4:00 games and some weeks I have 6? What are we doing? Show me some continuity week to week. All right, Denver and Las Vegas. Denver, I liked listen to me, Drew Lock a lot. I like him a lot. He's been on the up, but he needs to tone it down a little bit. He's trying too hard to be too cool, in my opinion. And you can just watch and see what I mean by that. He's just be yourself, dude. Just play, and everything will work itself out. They can play because they can run the ball there. Drew Lock, number 19 on the rankings. They can run the ball behind Melvin Gordon, number 17. I think Philip Lindsay's per run, if you watch Philip Lindsay on any one play, I like the way he's running a ball better than Melvin Gordon. It's just Melvin Gordon's getting more touches than him right now. 41 is Philip Lindsay's ranked this week. Jerry Jeudy, number 26. Tim Patrick, number 45. And Noah Fant should be fully healthy. Number 3 on the tight end rankings. Going over to Vegas, this is where you're going to find guys to play. And you're going to find guys to play for the wrong reason here. They don't have anybody they can throw the ball to. Where's Henry Ruggs? Where's Nelson Aguilar? Where's Brian? Well, Brian Edwards is injured. Hunter Renfrow. I can't start any of these guys. The one guy you can start is Darren Waller. He's the number 1 tight end on the rankings this week, always in the top 3. He's the guy that Derek Carr's throwing the ball to. Derek Carr, number 14 on the rankings, and they can do all this throwing to Darren Waller simply for one reason. That reason is Josh Jacobs, number 4 on the running back rankings this week. This is an interesting game to me. This is one of those games you can always throw out the records. These teams are always don't like each other. One team can be favored by 10 points, and you always end up in a 3-point game. for that reason, I'm going to go with the home team and the Raiders.
My belief in this game, Drew Lock has been kind of all over the place. He had 313 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He also led the team in rushing yards this past week with 47 yards on the ground, which was huge for him. And obviously gave him 6.7 yards per carry and a touchdown rushing. Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay really didn't do much, either one of them. They combined to have 41 yards rushing in this past week, which was not a great sign. But, Drew Lock was able to spread the ball out. He got it to Jerry Jeudy, who I told you is the one guy I'm confident in fantasy when it comes to receivers for Denver, with Cortland Sutton out due to an ACL injury. So Jerry Jeudy got over 125 yards on 7 catches. He was targeted 14 times with a touchdown. KJ Hamler, their rookie, also another rookie on the team, he got 75 yards, second leader on the team coming from Penn State. He was a second-round pick here. So you see the 2 rookies getting a lot of love on Denver. So, Drew Lock in this matchup, not a bad play. If you have Pat Mahomes or one of these guys out, I think he's a high-end quarterback too, but I like that he spreads the ball out. He got it to Jeudy, Hamler, Fant, Patrick, Deshaun Hamilton, Nick Vanette, as well as Melvin Gordon, Albert Akwujbanam, I'm going to try and say it, Philip Lindsay, and Tyree Cleveland, spreading the ball out and at least trying with a bunch of these guys, which was fantastic. So I think Drew Lock's a quarterback too for you this week, but I do like the fact that he's getting the ball around and could be some positive signs for the future. Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay, they're going to be sharing time. So, and Melvin Gordon's court date has been pushed back. So in other news, looks like he's going to be able to play this week. So I think Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay are more of running back 3s for you, just because you don't really know who's going to get it done, and I think there's a lot better guys to go after. Jerry Jeudy, as I tell you every week, is worth the play. KJ Hamler is a little sneaky play this week. You could pick him up probably in free agency and get him out there. So I think you should give him a shot. And Nick Vanette could be another guy to put out there for you as well. Tim Patrick, a flex guy with some more fantasy value with Drew Lock spreading the ball around like I had stated for Denver. On Vegas' side for this, I would say that, obviously got to play Josh Jacobs. Nelson Aguilar and Henry Ruggs are in this place right now as far as, the guys that they're leaning on. Hunter Renfrow is also getting it, but they're not getting a lot. I mean, Renfrow had 2 catches. Aguilar had 2. Darren Waller had 5. Aguilar and Waller had a touchdown. In this game, I would say that, my best advice to you, breaking this down fantasy-wise, is that Aguilar is a flex, Henry Ruggs is a flex, Hunter Renfrow is a flex. Darren Waller can still be your starting tight end because he is scoring, with Josh Jacobs is where I would put the fantasy money on for Vegas. This is a tough one for me, but Vegas is at home, so I'm going to lean on the side of Vegas. And Mike and I are going to take a step aside before we get into our next matchup, which is the Los Angeles Chargers at the Miami Dolphins. We'll take a step aside for a fast break here inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Not one of, or not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. I want to thank everybody who has supported them. Now more than ever, supporting Central New York and your local community and local businesses is imperative. And I want to thank you for going to 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, and dining in, as well as calling 315-487-2222 for curbside pickup, takeout, and delivery. Mike and I will be back with plenty more from This Week in Fantasy Football here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Thanks for navigating with us and having some fun with us this morning. And we will be back with plenty more right after this.
It's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carbolite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carbolanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carbolite ice cream. Carvel the way. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as Facebook Live, facebook.com/live-now-dt, all inside of the Cafe Kubal studios with 5 awesome locations in the community, as well as a mobile cafe that will come to you, and local delivery, which is free for Onondaga County. So, with that being stated, we're inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Hanging out here with Mr. Mike Sofka this morning of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com. We implore you to join our joint group, which is Winning Fantasy Football on Facebook, as you listen in and watch today. Mike, we're going to rapid fire go through these things a little bit quicker here as the games that we have left on the docket. So we have the Chargers at the Dolphins. What do you have for this?
Yeah, Dolphins were great to watch last week. Great to watch Tua versus Kyler Murray. That was one heck of a ball game. Tua did come out on top. Tua looked great. And, you know, it's two of the best rookie quarterbacks, Joe Burrow being the best of the three, but the best ones we've seen, Justin Herbert. And then you got, on the other side, Tua going as well. So this is going to be a great game to watch just for those two guys that are on the field. It's really nice to see these guys grow and develop, but these guys aren't fluke guys. They weren't born last night. They didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday. Justin Herbert, though, is ranked a little higher. I'll get to Miami in a second. Justin Herbert, number 7 on the rankings. Looks like Justin Jackson may be injured. He injured his knee right away, tried to come back, couldn't. Kalen Ballage, the man from the past, showed up and took over. Number 47 this week, Joshua Kelly, number 31. Watch for the injury status, though, if you're going to consider playing any running back from the Chargers, including Justin Jackson, with that knee. We should hear something more today. Keenan Allen, number 2 on the rankings. Mike Williams, number 44. Hunter Henry, number 7 on the tight end rankings. Going over to Miami, Tua Tagovailoa. I hope I'm saying that right. Rewind the tape and check it for me. 16 on the rankings. I can't trust any of the running backs here. Myles Gaskin goes down. Lynn Bowden, of course, for the season. Matt Breida and Jordan Howard going to split carries. They're in the 40s, 42 and 44 respectively. Devontae Parker, number 20 on the wide receiver rankings. Preston Williams just placed on IR. And Mike Gesicki, I should say, number 13 on the tight end rankings. I want to see this game. This is an exciting game. The Dolphins have that thing, though. Their defense has been scoring touchdowns. And for that, I'm going to take them at home this week against the Chargers.
Yeah, you know, this Chargers team has been up and down around the corner. What I love about this, though, the really, really cool thing about what we have to look forward to and what's really awesome is the fact that, you know, we got to see Kyler Murray, who came in last season. We got to see Kyler Murray go up against two young quarterbacks in the NFL. And now, this time around, what we get to see, which I think is really, really cool, is we get to now see Justin Herbert go against Tua Tagovailoa, which gives us the opportunity to see two rookie quarterbacks go after it and show what they could do. So, in these last couple weeks, it feels like we're watching these college football games with Herbert and Tagovailoa, and it's just it's really, 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 I think it's great for football. It's great for the NFL. It's a lot of fun, and I'm excited. So, I think Herbert's done a great job, and then Tua as well has done, really has come in and done some awesome things. And I think, this is one of those games that maybe you wouldn't have circled in the past, but you should circle now. I think Justin Herbert is worth the play in the matchup. Justin Jackson is injured currently right now. He's questionable with a knee injury. So that leaves Josh Kelly as the lone wolf here. So there's a notion that you could put him out there as a lower end 2, higher end 3 at running back. Keenan Allen's worth the play. Mike Williams is worth the wide receiver 3 nod. Hunter Henry is worth starting there for you as well, but his numbers have been limited, so just watch that. And Donald Parham Jr., who came over from the XFL, had no targets. He had nothing, so nothing to write home about. So Hunter Henry, just kind of watch that one. It's hard to leave him off because if you do, he'll have a big day. But that's the fantasy value on one side. And then for Tua Tagovailoa, I think you got to play him in this game. And then Salvon Ahmed has been the guy that Miami has trusted in at running back, not Jordan Howard. Myles Gaskin's hurt. DeAndre Washington, that's been a no. Matt Breida's hurt as well. So Ahmed might be the guy for you to pick up. Devontae Parker is worth a look this week, but I put him as a wide receiver 3. And Mike Gesicki, I put him as a low-end tight end 1. I got the money on Miami, and I think Miami's going to do some really good things this week. So I'm going to go with Miami as well as Mike and I. We don't have each other's sheets before we do this, so we have picked the exact same teams all the way through, but this is not something that we talked about before. So we'll see if we do it as we continue on here. Mike, Buffalo at Arizona. What do you have for the Bills and the Cardinals?
Yeah, both of these games are still exhaling from the big games they had last week. Buffalo with the big home 10-point victory, a lot of points in that game over the Seahawks, 44-34. And then you go to the other side of the ball. Arizona feels like they got the wind kicked out of them by Tua. And that was just a good game to watch. This is going to be another excellent game to watch. Arizona, these are the top 2 quarterbacks in fantasy this week. Kyler Murray, number 1 on the rankings. Chase Edmonds, number 10 on the running back rankings. DeAndre Hopkins, number 7 on the wide receiver rankings. I can't start a tight end from this team, but I can flex your wide receiver 3. Christian Kirk should put some points up for you. And like I said, top 2 quarterbacks this week. Number 2 on the rankings, Josh Allen. And there's more of a timeshare situation, but Zach Moss is, now that he's fully back, you're going to see more of this balanced timeshare. I got Devin Singletary, number 25, Zach Moss, 28. I think it's eventually going to be Moss in the end that gets you the most goal line, the most important carries, the most points for your fantasy team down the stretch. Stephon Diggs, number 3 on the wide receiver rankings. John Brown and Cole Beasley in the 4. I can't start any tight end from Buffalo. I'm going to go with Arizona at home.
Yeah, this is a very tough one to pick for me because, Buffalo's beaten some teams that are threats. They've taken down the Rams 35-32. They've taken down, the Patriots who aren't the same, but it's a meaningful game to them. And they took down the Seahawks, and they've been able to outlast these teams and outscore these teams. But Arizona, you're going on the West Coast, and you're going out there to play the Arizona Cardinals, who also have done well this year. We're looking at Buffalo's 7-2 record, Arizona's 5-3, but Arizona winning at the 49ers in the first game that the 49ers have played since being in the Super Bowl last season. They won that game 24-20, and then, you see them defeat the Seahawks as well by outlasting them 37-34. So this is a tough one to pick, but let's go to fantasy first and foremost. Josh Allen, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, Stephon Diggs, John Brown, all worth the play. Cole Beasley or Gabriel Davis worth a flex. I would say Beasley over Davis. And then outside of that, just to make a note here, as far, like you said, with the tight ends, just to kind of show you what things have looked like here for Buffalo, Dawson Knox, really, he got nothing. Tyler Kroft got 1 target, 1 catch, 1 yard, but it was a touchdown. So, if you're looking for them to score, I guess you can go that route. But, and then Gabriel Davis and Cole Beasley are very close as far as the catches. Beasley had 3, Davis had 4. in this win over Seattle. So that's something to look to. That's why I said I'd flex either one of those guys out. On Arizona's side, you got to play Kyler Murray. I'm so happy that I kept Chase Edmonds on my team. So we'll see what he can do. But the value lies in Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. Christian Kirk, I agree with you, Mike. Wide receiver 3, I could say that. Not really a tight end to write home about in Arizona. They're playing in Arizona, so I'm going to give Arizona the slight edge in this one. I think Buffalo is a dangerous team to play. But as far as at the end of the game outlasting you, Buffalo's done it and Arizona's done it. I think Arizona does it in this one because they're at home. But this game could, mark my words, very easily go in either direction. With that being said, Mike, as we head on to our next game here in the matchup inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, Seattle at Los Angeles for the Rams. Seattle coming off that loss to Buffalo. The Rams coming off of a bye week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Seattle played pretty well, I thought, across the board in Buffalo. It's just Buffalo was a better team. Buffalo was at home, and Buffalo had a way to get it done, and that's what Buffalo's done. So, again, hats off to them. The guy who's been getting it done, though, for Seattle is Russell Wilson, number 3 quarterback on the rankings this week. Chris Carson should be back to full health. Monitor his health situation. I don't think Carlos Hyde's going to be back quite yet. DJ Dallas has filled in really well. But this week I got Chris Carson, 29, DJ Dallas, 45, and Travis Homer, number 59. Here's where the money is for Seattle, the wide receivers. Tyler Lockett, number 4, DK Metcalf, number 5, and I'll go Greg Olsen, number 26. Probably won't start that guy, but he's an emergency guy. Number 26, meaning he's just outside tight end 2 rankings. The Rams have been playing well across the board, in my opinion, player-wise. They have some opportunities team-wise, but they've been adjusting as they could. The Rams are led by Jared Goff, number 8 quarterback on the rankings this week. Darrell Henderson should be back, fully back, that is, number 20 on the rankings. Malcolm Brown, number 40. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, this is where the money is, number 8 and 13, respectively, on the rankings. And Tyler Hughes and Gerald Everett cannibalize each other, number 21 and 23 on the rankings. This is a tough game to pick. This is a good game to watch. I like Seattle because of Russell Wilson. I know they're going on the road to L.A., but I think Russell Wilson's the best player on the field here, and I'm going to give it to the Seahawks for just that reason.
You know, I keep wondering what game we're going to differ on, Mike, and it's not going to be this one. I'm also choosing Seattle in this matchup on the road at the Rams. 2 West Coast teams facing off against each other. Russell Wilson worth the play. Travis Homer and DJ Dallas are guys that are going to try and get it done for you. They're good flex guys to have. They're probably in free agency. Potentially somebody might have picked up DJ, maybe Travis earlier on in the season, but these guys could be on your waiver wire and they could be in free agency. Either one of them is not a bad flex to play in this game. Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. I shouldn't have to tell you that, but I will. I love Penny Hart's name, but I don't think that's the guy that you play. David Moore is a flex guy for you as well. I'd call him a wide receiver 4 at this point, and I'm not really sold on the Greg Olsen side of things. On the other side, Malcolm Brown, with Darrell Henderson questionable with a thigh injury, if he's unable to go, or even if he does and it's still hampering him a little bit, then I would say Malcolm Brown is the guy for you to put out there. I would say he's a low-end 2, probably more so a high-end 3 at running back, which leaves him as a flex. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are worth the play. And like Mike said, Higbee and Everett kind of cannibalize each other, so it's hard for you to lean on that. I'm going with Seattle in this game as we get set for our next matchup. San Francisco at the New Orleans Saints. San Francisco has somehow, some way found a way to field a team and at least have 53 guys on the roster. New Orleans is coming off of a 35-point victory over Tom Brady. Drew Brees getting it done and making it happen. Brees doesn't want to give up that touchdown. You know the whole thing about who leads in touchdowns, is it going to be Brees or Brady? Well, head-to-head, Brees was like, I'm going to keep getting some more and more and more. I'm going to pour it on as much as I can. And the game that I can hopefully hope in my defense to stop Tom Brady, they did. So after that game, Drew Brees could feel a little bit more comfortable about the overall touchdown leads per career. Now they have the opportunity to play at home against San Francisco, who has had COVID upon top of COVID upon top of COVID, and then injury. this team had one healthy wide receiver on the depth chart of 6 or 7 guys last week. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, I believe San Fran started over 70 players on the field this year. That's the most of any team. Well over 20 some odd players on the IR. It's just amazing. You're right that they can field the team at this point. I don't have much to say about San Fran players because there's not many you're going to play. The one guy you might play is a sneaky pickup is Jordan Reed, number 18 on the tight end rankings. I thought Ross Dwelly was going to step in admirably, but Jordan Reed's come back from injury, and he seemed to be the guy to show up. He's the one guy I have faith in. Deebo Samuel's supposed to be coming back this week. Brandon Ayuk as well, number 39 and 43 respectively. Nick Mullins, number 26, and all the running backs, a mired mess led by Jerick McKinnon, number 23 on the rankings. Mozart, if he's able to make it back, and Hasty was a big disappointment last week. Those guys are in the 40s and 50s. No start there. Here's where your starters are. Here's where your daily fantasy plays are. Here's where the money is. Drew Brees, number 12 on the rankings. Alvin Kamara, you already know this, is either him or Dalvin Cook every week recently here. Kamara's number 1 this week. Latavius Murray's going to pick up the scraps at 33. Michael Thomas, number 12 on the wide receiver rankings. I have a feeling we're going to see him back to full strength. Emmanuel Sanders, number 35 on the wide receiver rankings, and Jared Cook, number 14. Look, I know Drew Brees notoriously does not play well on the road, but San Fran's just too banged up. San Fran's got guys I've never heard of out there on the field, so I'm going to go with Drew Brees and the Saints.
Yeah, I'm going with the Saints as well. I don't know how. I mean, after everything we said about all the injuries and San Fran and what they've had to do to, even try and hope for any type, not just go after a victory, but just to have somebody out there who can actually play the game for them. It's been a really, really, really rough season, unfortunately, for San Francisco, coming off of a Super Bowl berth where they did not get the victory. Obviously, Pat Mahomes did it in his second season as the true starter of the Kansas City Chiefs, and what I called the Montana Bowl because we had Kansas City and San Francisco. San Fran is still, they're just under 500 at 4-5, but they're going to be 4-6 after this week when they face off against the New Orleans Saints, who are feeling very good right now. Should be. Got to stay focused, though. Even though they're 6-2 and they got 2 wins over Tampa Bay, so they have that tiebreaker. Tampa's 6-3, so Tampa's right there on their heels, even though New Orleans, you would think with 2 wins over them would have more of separation. But it's 6 wins and 6 wins. New Orleans having the slight edge, so they'll look to defeat San Francisco this week, which I believe that they will. The thing that is really, really funny, Mike, is that when you look up San Francisco on the place where I get my depth charts, and the funny thing about this is insane. So when you click on depth charts for all the teams come up, but I kid you not, when you click on San Francisco's depth chart, it says unavailable. It says unavailable for offense, defense, and special teams. So a crazy thing about it is every other team, the Saints, it's all available, but when you look up the depth chart for San Francisco, it legitimately says unavailable on the site that I'm on. So just a crazy. It is. So Nick Mullins looks like he's going to be the quarterback here. I wouldn't play the quarterback. JaMychal Hasty, I look at him as a flex in this game. Outside of that, Brandon Ayuk is supposed to be back, and Richie James, I would say flex. Brandon Ayuk flex, wide receiver 4s at this point. There's really nothing to write home about. The value lies on the other side with the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray. Taysom Hill's a sneaky flex because they're playing San Fran, so they might do something with him. Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook, all these guys worth the play. The biggest value with Brees, Kamara, and Michael Thomas, in my opinion, right now. And we'll see if New Orleans can eat another W and make it happen here in this. With that being said, we will go into our last game before our final fast break here in the Fantasy Football Power Hour for Fantasy Week 10 of 2020. That's the Bengals at the Steelers, the only undefeated team in the nation, the Steelers. And what did I say last week? I said they're playing a team they should beat 28-3, which means the game's going to be a lot closer, just to make us all be uncomfortable and question what's going on in the world of football and look up to God and go, why is this how? 24-19, the Steelers get out with a victory over Dallas. They have the opportunity to go 9-0, Mike. Will they do it?
This is a tough game to call here. Steelers have the better players across the board. Ben Roethlisberger, number 10 on the rankings this week. James Conner, number 6. Juju, 21. Deontay, 19. Eric Ebron, number 10. So across the board, they have the better players. Joe Burrow, number 18. Joe Mixon, number 14. Giovanni Bernard, number 48 on the rankings. Tyler Boyd, 17. T. Higgins, 29. And A.J. Green. Haven't seen him in a while. Haven't talked about him in a while. Number 53 on the rankings. Look, Pittsburgh's won some games they shouldn't have won. They've won a lot of games against lesser opponents. They've won against the Giants, the Broncos, the Texans, Philadelphia, Cleveland. These are all bad teams. They went 5-0 facing those bad teams. They played 2 good teams, the Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens, and snuck out with 3- and 4-point victories on the road. They go on the road for a third time to Dallas, a team they should decimate, and they barely escaped with a win. They almost lost it on the last play of the game. Dallas was playing a quarterback nobody's heard of. We heard of him from the AAF, and Garrett Gilbert had a heck of a performance for what it is there. And I just don't. Pittsburgh plays down to their opponent's ability is what I'm trying to say. They can play up or they can play down, and they've been winning these games. I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to tell you Cincinnati is going to upset Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's going to be 8-1 coming out of this. I know Pittsburgh has the better players fantasy-wise and street value-wise, but this is against Joe Burrow, and I think you're a paper champ. Just like I said in the beginning of the year with Chicago, I'm calling out Pittsburgh, Cincinnati with the W.
Yeah, this is a very interesting game to choose because Joe Burrow has played teams so close, so I don't think that the record of 2-5-1 adequately shows what he's done, and the loss of him at LSU has also been visible as well, that maybe people didn't know what that was going to look like, and now you know it even more so. Cincinnati's got a lot of different talented players. Pittsburgh, when you look at it, Mike, and you talk about the being undefeated, but who they've defeated. They defeated the Giants 26-16. That's closer than it should be. Broncos 26-21. And I think the Broncos are getting better now. Weren't as good back then. Defeated the Texans 28-21. And the Texans aren't a good team. The Eagles 38-29. The Browns 38-7. That was a big time. Titans 27-24 on the road. They defeated the Ravens in a close one you anticipate 28-24. Barely beat the Cowboys 24-19. This is a team that has not scored more than 30 points in 6 of their wins this year. The only times they've done it were against the Eagles and the Browns, 38 points in both of those games. So they played a lot of teams close. And the Bengals have played teams close as well and haven't come out with the victory. So let's go to Cincinnati first since this game's in Pittsburgh. Joe Burrow, to me, is worth the play. Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, I like them too. A.J. Green is a flex. I would look at them as your plays. Giovanni Bernard, 62 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Samaje Perrin had a touchdown as well. Both of them, between the two of them, 25 carries, 15 for Giovanni, 10 for Samaje. So, I would say that either one of these guys could be a flex for you, but that's where I would keep them. I wouldn't put them in your running back 1 or your running back 2. T. Higgins has definitely shown up. It's great to see that LSU can play up against Clemson, and then they can play with one another and be successful. Joe Burrow and T. Higgins getting it done for LSU and Cincinnati alum, respectively. And then on the other side of it for Pittsburgh, the value of, you look at it right now, and Big Ben is on the COVID-19 list. So that changes a lot of things. If he's unable to go, then Mason Rudolph's your quarterback all over again, and then it's a nightmare. James Conner was underwhelming. Juju Smith-Schuster has been underwhelming. But if Ben plays, they're worth the play. Then Eric Ebron. But it's a big if. Because of the COVID-19 protocol, because of how that's going to affect practice, and because of what's going on, I was already considering it, but now I will secure it. Cincinnati will be the first team this season to defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they will play them again later on in the year in Cincinnati, Ohio. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, it's a game that you would think would be a Sunday night football game other years for other reasons, Baltimore at New England, and then Monday Night Football, Minnesota at Chi-Town, playing Chicago and the Bears. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, Mike and I will have Sunday night and Monday night ready for you right here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for your support. And we will give you more fantasy football right after this.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicoli's, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Trapper's Pizza Pub, located on 5950 Butternut Drive in East Syracuse. Right off of Bridge Street is your local community supporter right around the corner. Join us on site at Trapper's Pizza Pub for our live monthly broadcast supporting Central New York student athletes and their sports programs. Call 315-438-4444 for more information. And find us on Facebook and Instagram at Trapper's Pizza Pub. Trapper's Pizza Pub, your local community supporter right around the corner.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where you're listening, you're watching on facebook.com/live-now-dt. I'm hanging out with the man Mike Sofka for the Fantasy Football Power Hour, Fantasy Week 10 advice for the NFL of the Greats 2020-2021 season. We didn't know if we were going to have a season. Mike and I were positive. We put all the work in, even more work than we've ever done, put it into this season, believing in this season, having faith, belief without evidence. And not only have we had a season, but we've gotten into double-digit weeks, which is a great and wonderful sign. And I'm very happy that we're able to talk about it. Fantasy Football Power Hour, thanks to the amazing people at the Wildcat. Supporting CNY has never been more imperative right now. Make sure you support all of our local businesses here in our community, especially those that support us here at Wake Up Call. I want to send a special thank you to. And the Wildcat, 315-487-2222 for curbside pickup, takeout, and delivery. And, of course, you can go to them on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. I have been dedicated to them all the way through. And for every single week of college football / the NFL, I have been at the Wildcat on the weekend in some way, shape, or form. I have found my way over there for Saturdays, for Sundays, for both. And so I've kept my commitment of supporting Central New York, as I always do. And I look forward that you keep yours. I told you that the place to watch the games is the Wildcat, and that is exactly where I have been 100% of the football weekends this season for college football as well as the NFL. So thank you to the Wildcat for all that you do. You're incredible. You're amazing. And I appreciate your support and your love, and, of course, connecting with us here in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presenting all of our fantasy leagues in Central New York that I'm so proud to oversee as your commissioner, the people's commissioner, I would like to think, because I care about y'all, and I appreciate y'all, and we get to form bonds and connect with each other, and it's been truly heartwarming to see what this has looked like over the past 9 years, so thank you for that. Baltimore at New England, Mr. Sofka, Sunday Night Football. What do you got?
Yeah, I think Baltimore needs to play better, and I think the guy who leads that team, Lamar Jackson, needs to play a little better as well. If you've been relying on Lamar Jackson, you probably overdrafted him this year, and you're probably disappointed. On the field, they're not as disappointed as him in a leader, though. He's still a quality quarterback. It's just when you set the bar so high and you can't maintain that level of achievement, even though you're heads and shoulders above other people consistently, you're a disappointment. It's unfair in a way, but that's what it is. When you learn to get and reach to higher levels, people expect that higher level all the time, and it's up to you to deliver. And Lamar Jackson hasn't been able to deliver. What he is going to deliver here is a W, and a big fat one. Lamar Jackson, number 6 on the quarterback rankings. I don't know who to start here. J.K. Dobbins, number 37. Gus Edwards in the 40s. Mark Ingram should be back. He's in the 70s. So I'm definitely not starting a running back from Baltimore. Marquise Hollywood Brown, number 37 on the rankings. I can't start any other wide receiver there. Mark Andrews, though, even though he had a disappointing last week, number 6 on the tight end rankings. Going over to New England looked pitiful. They looked bad against the Jets. I think at one point in the game it was 27-10. It was 20-10 at the half. They just looked really bad. And Cam Newton looked really bad. Cam Newton has not done himself any favors here. He's number 20 on the rankings here. I don't think this is going to work out long term. I'd be surprised if he's the quarterback of the Patriots next year unless something dramatic changes here. On the running backs, again, I don't know who to start. Is it going to be James White? Is it going to be Damian Harris? Who's it going to be? So I can't start any of those guys. I could start Jacoby Myers. Sneaky pick. Nobody's going to see it coming. Sneaky pick in daily fantasy as well. Number 14 on my rankings this week. And that's because they don't have a tight end. They just put Asiasi and Izzo on injured reserve. They signed 2 more tight ends nobody's ever heard of to the practice squad. So we've been saying all year they don't have a tight end. They literally don't have a tight end. I don't know. Bill Belichick has got to be like Job. He's got to be a man of patience. I wouldn't have this much patience. I look for the Ravens to roll all over the Patriots in Foxborough. I'm taking the Ravens with a big win and a big comeback statement by Lamar Jackson.
This was the game that everybody used to watch. I remember sitting on the couch the first time that it happened when, Tom Brady was there with the Patriots and Baltimore was able to get a victory over him. I was on the couch in Kissimmee, Florida in my condo with Rudy and Evan, and I was home by myself watching the game in the dark, fell asleep on the couch, woke up, couldn't believe that Baltimore was winning, thought it was a joke. Now this game is kind of a joke this season because Baltimore's coming in this not looking as strong as people expected. And New England's just looking awful. The Jets did everything in their power to lose the game. They were up by 10 going into the fourth quarter, 27-17 on Monday Night Football of this past week. And they allowed 13 points, scored nothing in the fourth quarter, lost the game 30-27. They found a way to lose, and it was abysmal. The funny thing about it is, normally on Monday night, you see that somebody has something. In all of my matchups that I had this week, I didn't have anybody on Monday night, and the people I played didn't have anybody on Monday night. So by the end of Sunday, we knew who had won our fantasy football matchups because nobody was trusting in the Jets or the Patriots. So I guess they listened to us, Mr. Sofka. Marquise Hollywood Brown, I think, is worth the play in this matchup, even though he's been underwhelming. So has J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. J.K. Dobbins is a flex. Gus is a flex behind J.K. So J.K. a 3, Gus a 4. Lamar Jackson is worth playing at quarterback this week for you. I don't think he's as dangerous as other quarterbacks out there. Like as far as giving you the fantasy points, I don't think he's as high, but he's still worth the play. Mark Andrews is worth the play as well. On New England side of it, man, Cam Newton is just, not looking good by any stretch of the imagination. He's got a neck injury right now, and so it's just none of this looks good. Jacoby Myers, like Mike was talking about stepping up here. There's nobody to play on New England. It's all Baltimore. I got Baltimore winning the game. I don't see anything good coming out of New England. They're already talking about where Bill Belichick's going to go. And guess what, Jaguars fans? They think he could come to Jacksonville. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'll be talking about it Thursday morning with Papa Joe from the Sunshine State. Minnesota at Chicago, Mike, for our final game. Monday Night Football. What do you got?
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. It's interesting to me because Dalvin Cook has been the man. The past 2 weeks, he's racked up over 570 yards and 6 touchdowns. The guy's on a phenomenal pace. Well, this is a guy who just upped his contract, and this is a guy who's notoriously hurt every year. I just hope he can keep it going here. Look, Minnesota is going to rely on him. That's how they're going to win the game, and smartly so. Dalvin Cook, number 2 on the running back rankings this week. Kirk Cousins not doing the team any favors, ranked number 28 this week. Irv Smith, number 30. I can't start Kyle Rudolph. I can start Adam Thielen, but he's not getting the ball because Kirk Cousins isn't getting it to him. He's number 22 on the rankings. Going over on the other side, Nick Foles is a sneaky play this week, number 15 on the quarterback rankings. Minnesota can give up some points. They gave up some points to Chase Daniels and Matt Stafford, so I think Nick Foles is a sneaky play. And Nick Foles coming off of a 335-yard effort and 2 touchdowns against the Titans. So I think Nick Foles is a sneaky pick here. David Montgomery, number 11 on the running back rankings. He's in the concussion protocol. Look for Ryan Nall. If he's unable to go, that's the sneaky play there. Allen Robinson, number 6 on the wide receiver rankings. Darryl Mooney, I like that guy as well, number 49 on the wide receiver rankings. And Jimmy Graham, number 9. Look, I'm going to go with the best player on the field. That's Dalvin Cook. He's a winner. He's putting up the stats, and he's going to help the Vikings put up the W.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you go against Dalvin Cook. I know nobody wants to play against him. He's like Devontae Adams right now. You don't want to play him by any stretch of the imagination. So looking at this, I mean, I think it's an easy play for us to look at this Monday Night Football game and talk with you about, I mean, obviously Minnesota first. Dalvin Cook is absolutely positively worth the play. Adam Thielen, you put him out there, but he's a lower end 2 now. And then we look at Justin Jefferson as a flex. I love that KJ Osborne's there. KJ played at Buffalo, then he went to Miami. I got to interview him on his road to the NFL. So it'd be cool if he did something. But really, everything lies on Dalvin Cook in this matchup. For Chicago's side of things, Cordero Patterson, who's a wide receiver but also plays running back as a running back on this team. I guess you could put him as a flex if you need some help. Montgomery's in concussion protocol, so he'll probably be off for you. I don't trust in any of the receivers for Chicago. They're all flex guys, Robinson, Mooney, and Miller at this point. Really, this is the Dalvin Cook show, and I'm excited that we all get to watch it on Monday night and focus on it because there's no other game on. Not that you wouldn't focus on it, but now you got no excuses to watch this man do his work. So I'm excited for it. I'm picking Minnesota. And Mike, you and I think for the first time this season, arguably, we have gone 100% on our picks exactly the same. So with that being stated, this is the Fantasy Football Power Hour for Week 10 of the 2020-2021 season. Mr. Sofka, congratulations. We're either going to be 100% right or 100% wrong. So.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. I'm looking forward to a fun weekend of football here, starting off with the Thursday night game, and hopefully everybody will stay safe, and God willing, we'll see you again next time. But in between now and then, be sure to visit our Facebook group, Winning Fantasy Football. Check out some new exciting stuff on my YouTube channel, Hall of Fame Fantasy Sports, as well as the website, HallOfFameFantasyFootball.com.
That coming from Mike Sofka. Once again, HallOfFameFantasyFootball.com. And, of course, our joint group on Facebook, Winning Fantasy Football. Mike, as always, I appreciate it. Stay safe and God bless, and I'll talk with you soon.
All right, sounds great, Dan. Talk with you next time.
Take care. That coming from Mike Sofka in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Appreciate you so very much. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great day. Be well, be safe, enjoy some Wednesday night football. I'll be watching Toledo and Western Michigan. Thank you so much. All the information always on the bottom here, ticker. I want to put a special thanks out to Mr. Mike Sofka for joining me for the Fantasy Football Power Hour every week, and my co-host joining me every week for the Midweek Blitz, that being Julian Wiggum. Thank you so much. Inside of MaAndPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Online promo code DT20 will get you 20% off. Great for the holidays here for MaAndPazPopcorn.com. If you're looking for a snack to give people to come to the house early for Thanksgiving, get some Ma and Pa's kettle corn by going to MaAndPazPopcorn.com. You can get one of their tins that's refillable. You can refill for the rest of your life with a huge, awesome discount. And, of course, you can get 20% off by going to the website and using DT20 as the promo code. Want to thank them as well as Carvel DeWitt, Cafe Kubal, the Wildcat Sports Pub for the Fantasy Football Power Hour and so much more, including our West Genesee events. Honda City of Liverpool, Chick-fil-A, Cicero, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. The best place to bring your furry-loving friends. Avicoli's 10% off, AVS10 on myavicoli's.com. That's AVICOLLIS.com. Their margarita pizza, veal parmesan, all of that exquisite. Use the promo code AVS10 online. Trapper's Pizza Pub in the Millhouse Market. And, of course, our beverage eye of choice, the DT Special at Cafe Kubal, my pumpkin spice chai, as well as Reign, Monster Energy, Coca-Cola, and Body Armor. Have a great day. God bless. No stress. Do your best, and make sure you find us at Wake Up Call DT on Facebook, at Call DT on Twitter, and at Wake Up Call _DT on Instagram, and on wakeupcalldt.com for our articles as well as our videos and our archive of shows and so much more. And the Central New York tab that'll let you know a little bit more about all the beautiful companies here in Central and Upstate New York we're happy to work with. Chick-fil-A Cicero today is giving a free Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich to all veterans. All you got to do is bring your ID. So head off there to Chick-fil-A on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York, and let them thank you for all you did with a free chicken sandwich today for Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. God bless. I appreciate you. I thank you, and I salute all of you, including my family members, for all you do and all you continue to do. Be well, be safe, and come home. We love you. For the prisoners of war, for those that are missing in action, for those that have passed on, and for those that came home, we love you all, we appreciate you all, and we thank you all for protecting something that should have always been protected and should have never been taken away. As I tell you, a human right is freedom, and for some odd reason, humans have taken it away from other humans, and there have been those that have been willing to fight for total strangers to restore the freedom that God gave us. Thank you for that. I appreciate you, and I pray for you every single day. Be well, be safe, be good. We'll be back in the Cafe Kubal studios tomorrow morning with Papa Joe, as well as Nathaniel Joseph, a 2023 wide receiver out of Miami, who's got a ton of offers, including Syracuse. You're going to want to hear from him tomorrow morning.